How you doing? I am Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to Bridges Live. I just want to share a couple of things with you. If you can see the topic is called choices. Now, some of the things that we talk about often is how do we choose? What do we choose? If we have a choice that we can rely on. So that's the most important thing that I want to talk about to do is that the idea of choices. The reason why I picked this topic is because so many people think that they're in a situation where they just don't have the idea choice. First, there is no idea choice. There's what you choose. There is no idea choice. It is just what you choose. When you make that choice, you're either going to have a purposeful reaction to it or a negative reaction to the choice. Now, more often, more often, many of us in what we call this human form, we make choices because of our emotional state. It's really what it is. It's the first thing that reacts into the brain, and what triggers those different things is an emotional trigger, not a logical trigger, but an emotional trigger. And that supersedes logical prefrontal cortex thinking. It just happens. And one of the things with logical thinking is that it's slower. And because it's slower, we don't respond to that as quickly. We respond to the quick reaction of our emotional state. Now, how do we separate that? You probably heard this before, is before you react, before you do, before you have any physical action, slow down just a bit. Slow down just a bit. And then hopefully, because it's always hopefully, that conscious logical reaction will come into play where then you can look at and disseminate the difference between an emotional and a logical state. Now, if that's not happening for you, and most of your life is built on emotional reaction and state and in that environment, then logic would never come into place. But how do you, Dr. Paul, I guess I can hear you say, Dr. Paul, so how do you know if I'm more emotional than logical? Well, logical actually has 8 sides to it. There's always 8 sides to information. There's always 8 sides to information. In that information, if you lack understanding of the 8 and only understand the 2, then you're narrowing your focus on what you can offer to yourself. There's always 8 sides to information. And if you're unable to understand all 8 sides and only the few, one, two, maybe 3, then that's all the information and understanding you have, then your choices are limited. And if something feels stronger to you, that's probably more emotional than logic. Logic doesn't have a strong pull to it. It has a question to it because logic should always be questioned. Even the brain knows that. Logic should always be questioned. because it's giving you more information and there's more of an understanding why logic is always questioned. When it's emotional, it's never questioned. It's always driven by this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly how I feel. And that's what comes out. And that is not giving you the best possible of choice. And it's giving you even a little of understanding. This takes time to work as a practitioner, as a scientist, as a trainer of uh, life defense and life enjoyment, and all those things that really keeps life sacred. It takes time to practice this, and you need to be trained in it. It just doesn't come from like the sky or anything like that. So I just want to give you this small little tidbit in understanding what the difference between what a choice is, what an idea is. Because again, all information has eight sides to it. Understanding all eight sides takes training, understanding, and releasing those endorphins that's trying to get you so much over to the emotional side. If you don't have the training, then you're going to react the way you're going to react. And that's just what it is. But ask yourself, in all of your life that you've been doing what you've been doing, has less to do with logic and more emotional? How is that working out for you? And if it's not working out for you, then maybe you should take your time and to, you know, do something else. But it takes training. It takes an understanding of the information that you're receiving. There's more to come from this. I will put out more from this. If you have any questions, you could always contact me in any way you can. I'm always out there on social media. But if you have the question, ask the question, not just to me, but to yourself. If you don't ask yourself the question, then you're basing it off of more of emotional than logic. And your choice is something you're just going to decide on, but it's not really a choice. It's really just an avenue that you only fit in. Often, people limited their choices by the lack of understanding of what they feel and what they think, and what they think over than what they feel. I hope this helps you. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer of Bridges Live, and I will be back to you as soon as you have more questions or if I have more thoughts that I want to share with you. But every day, be kind, be compassionate, and be loving. And I wish you well. Thank you.